Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here is your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience, episode number 397. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black Entrepreneur Experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards. Are you looking for exclusive signature pieces that are adorable and gender neutral, that are so durable that they can be passed on from one child to the next? Joining us on the mic is the owner of Jamison and Baxley, a clothing line for kids. Welcome, Jennifer Sanger.
Hi, how are you?
I am perfect. I've given our audience such a brief bio. Why don't you fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you'd like them to know about you and your business?
Yeah, for sure. I'm a mother of three, but I created the company back in 2017 after I had my son, Jamison. The company is actually named after my two kids. I couldn't find anything gender neutral in big retailers like Baby Gap or let's say Gymboree. It's copy and paste, the same old boys, blue, pink for girl, a lot more girl clothing option than there are for boys. And so I wanted to kind of disrupt that market and do something different, something that I know I needed as a mother, which was something gender neutral, because when I had my daughter, she got a lot of pinks and, glitter, and you can't really pass those down to a boy. So I wanted to have a company where you can have hand-me-downs, that the quality of clothing, it lasts so well. Like you go from the first kid to the fifth kid and it still look as good as when you first bought it. And so I started the company in 2017 as, a side hustle. I had a full-time job still, and I started my company, did pop-up shops on the weekends, and that was where I felt very fulfilled in life. And then the pandemic hit and like everyone shut down, and I decided to leave my job, my full-time job, and do my business full-time when the pandemic shut the world down. I've been doing it ever since, full-time.
Fill in the blank. Thank you, pandemic, because.
Thank you, pandemic, because you allowed me to pursue my real passion of elevating my business.
Talk about your previous career and your business now. Is there an interception?
Yeah. So my previous careers, I've been in customer service since I was probably 16, so 21 years. I've worked in anything from retail to, the restaurant to insurance. It's good to have that background because I know how to talk to customers because, I've done it so much. I know how to be empathetic. I know what they need. I know how to approach them. I've worked in retail as far as David's Bridal. I've done American Eagle. I've done Abercrombie Kids. So I kind of know what parents are looking for. I kind of know how to style certain things and, prevent, my company social media wise. I've seen it done in my previous roles.
So what is something that we should know about kids' clothing, getting into that industry that we don't know as consumers?
I found that it's not let me backtrack. I feel like it's a very big industry, but it's not cookie cutter. Depending on what you're looking for, there's a company out there for you. Because I'm very much gender neutral. I'm not a very frilly person, so you're not going to see a lot of ribbons and bows as far as clothing on my site. But there is a company out there that will have that for you, and they're not my competition. We just have different markets. There are moms that want to put the big bows on their baby's head and the ruffle pants, and that's good for them and their kid. I'm not that mom. I'm the mom that's like, okay, I want my kid to be able to go outside, and if it gets a little dirty, it's okay because it's clothing. It's kids' clothing. It's meant to be dirty, but also I had another baby this past November, so some of the clothing that my two older kids had from the site is going to him, and it fits, and it doesn't matter that it was from his sister first to his brother, now to him. It still fits for him as well.
What has been your biggest learning curve for getting into the retail space and kids' clothing?
The biggest learning curve that I've learned is like I said, I'm not everyone's my competition, and I shouldn't measure my success based off, or I shouldn't measure their success based off what I see on social media. I tend to go on social media and say, oh, they have a clothing company too, and they sell kids clothing too, and they have 20,000 followers. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, they must be so successful. They must be making like six figures. But then realistically, I'm like, they could have purchased their followers, and the numbers, the people that follow you don't matter. It's about like the back end, because not everyone that's successful is going to show as successful in my mind on social media. So it's just remembering that in my head.
Who's your ideal client?
Ooh, this is a good question, because I learned about this in our Goldman Sachs program. I finally was able to like narrow it down. I had to think about it. My ideal client is going to be the mom who is, there's different personas. This would be like, I use that word, personas. One ideal client is going to be, the mother who's having her first baby, and she wants clothing that's going to last because she knows in the future she wants to have more kids. She's buying clothing as like an investment into her kid's future. Like, all right, I'm buying this onesie now because I know in 2-3 years I'm going to have another baby, and this will be cute and it's going to be durable enough to last for that next baby. So, that's one persona. And the next one would be the same mother, but it's her second baby, second or third kid. And she knows, okay, I bought from them before. They have new styles now. I know this durable quality product. It's going to last. I'm going to buy from her again.
So how are you mass producing your clothes? Are you making them yourself? Are you manufacturing them? You're sending it out overseas? How is that working for you?
So right now, I would say about 90% of the clothing on my site is I purchase wholesale. I go into a company that has a bunch of different manufacturers that they have their own little shops. And I say, oh, I like the way they made this outfit. I wanted this to be in my shop. So I'm curating a lot of it. There are designs on my shops where it's like a onesie or a t-shirt that I can do at home. It's such a small quantity that I don't need to like outsource that yet, but the goal is to be able to get big enough that where I'm like, I can't do this myself. Let me go ahead and hire someone to do this for me. And the ultimate dream would be to look for a manufacturer and start having my own designs created and mass produced, be like everywhere.
So Jennifer, you mentioned about Goldman Sachs. Talk about what that program has meant or means to you.
Ooh, it meant, it's almost like I was talking to my business advisor, and I applied not thinking I was good enough to be a part of the program. And when they interview you, they ask, oh, which cohort are you available for? And I said, well, I just found out that I'm pregnant. So the first cohort would be great for me, or the second one, I'd probably be having a baby on the graduation stage. So that's not going to work out. But I felt like it just came at the right time. I had a lot of self-doubt in myself. I was very hyper independent, where I thought I can do bad all by myself. And I had to go through some trials over the summer and almost like, fix my mental health and see a therapist and get my mind right to receive this blessing. Like, I'm not a very religious person, but I feel like God put this in my path for a reason, because he sees how great I can be, and now I need to see it. And when we went to, the New York office, and the first day it was, and we sat and we heard the panel of, I think it was 3 other previous graduates. And the one girl said that she didn't feel like she was worthy. And she says, I am worthy. And I remember that resonated with me. I think she was in the cohort before ours. And for some reason, when she spoke, I just got chilled. And I was like, the reason why I didn't go to the first cohort, because I was meant to hear her speak now, and the third cohort. And I was like, clearly I'm worthy to be here with all these amazing African-American women, because if I wasn't good enough, I wouldn't be here. And now I need to start believing in myself to know that I'm good enough to do this. So it's been a blessing.
And someone is interested in applying for the program. What advice would you give them?
Oh, I would say do it and be your true, authentic, vulnerable self. My business advisor, Lauren Jackson, is amazing. And she's just like, just be vulnerable. Nothing wrong with being vulnerable. Speak your truth, because there's only one you. You can't duplicate you. Like, we could all be running kids' clothing companies, but there's only one Jennifer Sanger. No one else is me. So no one else can do what I do, even though it's the same company, using air quotes, but it's different because this is my company. So just to apply, put yourself out there, be vulnerable, and just be, if you get in, be excited, and trust the process. It's a process, as you know, it is a whole process, but it's so worth it and so rewarding at the end.
You talked about mental wellness. Talk about mental wellness and entrepreneurship.
Ooh, I feel like it goes hand in hand. A lot of the reasons why I felt like I haven't gone further in my career is because I think I always say there's like a brick wall in front of me being quote unquote successful. And I don't know how to jump over that brick wall. And what I've learned this past summer and dealing with my mental health and postpartum and with the Goldman Sachs program is that I put that mental wall because I felt like I wasn't worthy. Like I've been told from previous, I feel like millennia ago, that like I'm not good enough, I'm not supposed to be here, like I'm stupid and whatnot. So now I have that negative self-talk in my head. So just when I'm about to do something amazing, I say, nope, you're not good enough. You're not meant to do this. And so I put that wall up without even realizing it. And so with the help of my business advisor, and I even have a therapist I see every biweekly, so I can see that the wall is coming down and I see that light on the other side of that wall. And so like I'm doing things that are helping my mental health, be amazing. And I can see that it's helping my business grow as well.
What is your zone of genius?
Oh, I guess empathy. I think I can read people very well. I can like read the room and I can adjust my tone and myself to what their needs are. So I can be very empathetic. I can be very empathetic. Unless you're my husband, then I have no empathy. I'm kidding.
Take a snapshot of the last 30 days of your business. What was your biggest win?
My biggest win was when I was receiving orders from customers that aren't in the same state as me, meaning like they had to like search for me. Like, so I'm in Ohio. So when I see people that are buying from Columbus, Ohio, I'm like, okay, you probably see me around town. You probably see me in a pop-up shop, so you probably know of me. But when you get a random order by like a Jane Doe in like California, you're like, oh, how do you know about me? Who told you about this? Like, okay, like I'm out in Cali now. Like, this is great. So I love getting orders from different states where I'm like, oh, they had to either like search on Google for baby clothes and I must have popped up in those Google analytics. I'm like, oh, what I'm doing is actually working. I'm like, yes, I'm trusting the process. So that was fun.
And how do you celebrate your wins?
Oh, I do a happy dance. I do a legitimate happy dance, which my husband does not appreciate because it's usually in our bedroom and he works in our garage, which is right below our bedroom. So he hears like the pounding and I'll get a text, stop dancing. And also recently, what I've been told that I need to celebrate my wins everywhere. So now I will do the Facebook post and say, listen, won't, and I used to say, won't he do it? Now I'm like, won't she do it? Girl, I got an order from California. Like, yes, I did. And I'll just tell the world and be excited about it.
That's awesome. What does self-care look like for Jennifer?
It can be as easy as taking a shower without the kids pounding on the door or the baby crying. And if they are, I have the music turned up so loud that I take the time for myself. I have, like I have 3 kids, a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 4-month-old. I find even to this day that sometimes I get lost in the mom hustle where I'm taking care of everyone else. And then I'll say, when did I shower last? Like, I'm changing diapers. Okay. I'm folding laundry for the kids for school. Okay. But when did Jennifer actually take a shower last? And so I made this plan with my therapist. I knew I would get postpartum because I had my other 2 babies. And so we made a plan of like, all right, what are you going to do as form of self-care for you? She was like, just shower, even if it's like 3 times during the week, just make sure you take a shower, make your bed. So now it's like, I don't know if you read the book Atomic Habits. I guess it's called habit stacking, where I wake up, take my mental health pill, I make my bed, and then I go and take a shower. And now it's like a routine. And those showers are great. And people might think that's not enough for self-care, but when you add like a bath bomb to your bath or like a shower steamer and you have that eucalyptus smell, in your mind, you're in the oasis. But, in reality, I'm just in a small town in Ohio with kids out the door screaming. But no, I have my music playing. I have my little shower steamer. You can't tell me nothing. This is the best shower of my life. Even if it's like 15 minutes, it's the best 15 minutes of my life.
Talk about marriage, motherhood, and entrepreneurship.
Oh, marriage, motherhood, and entrepreneurship. I never thought I'd have all three at once. Never. I never thought I'd be the mom who's currently trying to buy a minivan with the white picket fence, packing school lunches, kissing my husband goodbye when he goes to work, and then going to my basement office to do work. But it's hard, and it's nice to have a spouse that's super supportive in my entrepreneurship journey. I remember right before COVID shut down the world, I was leaving my day job and I was crying, and I said, I can't do this anymore. It's killing my mental health. I was like, I can't do it. I go to work and I cry on the way to work. I don't want to be there. I sit in my cubicle and I hate it. My mental health is declining. And he says, all right, the amount we pay for childcare can cover, your monthly expenses. Go ahead and quit. And so I did. And he didn't, sometimes he gets upset when I come home with Target bags, but I would too. I shouldn't be shopping at Target. But the fact that he was like, we'll make it work. And it's great. And, I think every marriage went up and down through the pandemic, when you're stuck in the house with your spouse and you can't go anywhere, and you can't see anyone else. Those tiny little things. But I think after that, our marriage has gotten stronger. I mean, clearly we had a baby out of it. And then trying to, raise kids. And I want to show my kids, especially my daughter, that, you don't have to work for someone else. You can, do what you dreamed of when you're a little girl. Like I dreamt of having my own company when I was a child. And now here I am fulfilling that so much that I went and talked at her school for Black History Month. They had a bunch of speakers come in that had their own businesses. And so they had me come in and talk to her, the whole second grade. And she was so proud to see her mommy talking to the whole school. And so I was like, I made her a very popular girl that day. But, yeah. And then being able to work for myself and do what I love is great. So having all three things I love the most under one roof has been a blessing.
Talk to a younger Jennifer. What advice would you give to a younger you?
To little Jennifer, I would say that you're not stupid. You are so smart, and you may not feel loved now, but you will be so loved when you get older, and you're going to go so many places. And that fashion is a major, and you can do a lot with a fashion degree.
Tell us your why. Why do you do what you do?
I do it for my kids. Like I said, I do it to show them that mommy can do what she told herself she was going to do years ago. When people said I wouldn't do it, I'm doing it, and I'm proof of it. So I do it for them. I want to build generational wealth, and I'm shutting down generational trauma at the same time. So do it for them.
Legacy, when it's all said and done, how do you want to be remembered?
As the woman who did not give up, and the woman who fought tooth and nail to get to where she is and did it well.
I want you to have a monologue. I want you to name this person, living or not. This person has inspired you so much. Name the person, and what are you saying to this person?
So this person is Jaden, and I'm saying that I did it, I'm doing it, and I'm going to continue to do it.
What brings you joy?
Seeing my kids smile, seeing them smile.
What breaks your heart?
Seeing them cry and seeing them feel like they're not good enough. Oh, I'm getting like chills.
Jennifer, what problem exists in the world today that you would like to solve?
Student loan debt. I wish I can just get rid of it. That is such a big problem. But I'm like, if I didn't have to worry about Sallie Mae every month, oh, wait. Yeah, I think that would help a lot of people out. Like, go away now. Thanks.
Go away, Sallie Mae.
That should be a t-shirt. Go away, Sallie Mae. But I'd probably get sued if I did that. Buy Sallie Mae for more money.
There are so many brands and businesses that are dominating. Talk about a brand or a business that's dominating that you admire and why.
Oh, gosh. I want to say Tabitha Brown. I call her auntie in my head. I love that she started just by being an Uber driver and she ate a vegan chicken. I think it was a vegan sandwich. And she recorded herself doing it, just being unapologetically herself. And now she's out here in Target. She has her own line of cookware and everything. I'm like, oh, yes, Auntie Tab. Like, I want to be like you. I should start just recording videos of me eating in my car. I don't know. But I love it. I love everything about her. And I'm like, yes, I want to be like her. I want to be in Target with my own design someday. That's the goal.
If you lost everything and you had to rebuild in 30 days, what industry would you rebuild and why?
I lost everything and had to rebuild in 30 days. I probably would get into motivational speaking. I wouldn't have to have any on hand inventory for that. So it'd be cheaper to start that up. And I think that I could inspire some people with my story, which maybe I'll do that regardless as, a side hustle.
So, speaking of cost,
Mm-hmm.
how did you raise capital for your business?
I raised no money. I did all of it with my paycheck. I would get paid for my day job. I would pay my bills, and the rest of the money I would use to buy some inventory. Luckily, towards the end of me working, it was at the point in my company where I was able to use company funds to buy inventory and not have to use my own personal paycheck to do it. So that was fun.
How do you impact lives daily?
I think I should phone a friend for that one. No, I think I impact lives by just being authentic and being myself. I think that I advocate a lot on my social media accounts about, mental health and postpartum, and a lot of people feel like they can't speak to it because it's so taboo. And so I get messages daily saying that they appreciate me being raw and being authentic because they felt like they feel how I feel on those days where I just be myself and say, hey, I'm struggling today. And they're like, I actually wrote in this post myself. And so I think that's how I impact lives.
Jennifer, what is the biggest takeaway from our conversation today that you want the audience to leave with?
That I'm a lot more awesome than I give myself credit for. No, and no, just that you can do anything you put your mind to, and don't let anyone tell you any differently. And just remember that you have to advocate for yourself. And so yeah, don't let anyone tell you you can't do anything you want to do, because you can do it. And I'm living proof of it.
Let's switch gears, an attitude of gratitude. And I want you to have a thank fest. And what that is to share situations, peoples, or ideas that you're thankful for. So have at it.
I want to thank my husband for believing in me and giving me the push I need to leave my job. I want to thank my therapist, Nicole, for being available in my darkest hour. I want to thank my business advisor, Lauren Jackson, for being available when I need her, even if it's 3 a.m, and just understanding me and telling me that I can do bad and I am amazing. I want to thank my friend Ashley from my hometown, who I don't often talk to and I don't often see. She lives in Washington, D.C. area, who needed her the most without me realizing that I needed her. She came up to Ohio, which is a very far drive, like 8+ hours. Let's see. I want to thank my kids for allowing mommy to not be okay for a while and still loving me, even though mommy didn't love herself. And even though mommy made some mistakes, they don't hold it against me. And I want to thank me for not giving up on myself, even though I thought about it, but I still pushed through.
Tell us the backstory about the first wound you experienced with a boss or a leader.
The first wound I experienced with a boss or a leader would probably be, and this is so petty, but the fact that I still remember this is why I'll probably talk about it in therapy next week, why I'm still holding on to this grudge. I was like 19 years old, and there was a supervisor named Andy, And I worked at Applebee's, and you can't fraternize. Management and employees can't hang out. But he was in love with my roommate, and so we would hang out, and he would buy us alcohol. And the next day, I was hungover because he bought us alcohol, and so I was late to my shift at work. And then he fired me, and I'm like thinking, why I'm late. You were there last night too, but yeah, I'm fired. And I shouldn't have been drinking underage in the first place. As a mother now, I see that. But I'm just like, and then he tried to hang out with me and my roommate that night. I was like, you just fired me. You want to, no, that's not how this works. And so, yeah, I really should get over that, obviously. But it's only been like almost 20 years. I'm still thinking about it. God. I'm pathetic. Like, let it go.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Talk about your top 2 influencers. Some people call them influencers, some call them mentors. And what lessons did they teach you?
Issa Rae, for sure. And I'm trying to think who else is there. Issa Rae, and who else do I follow religiously? I'm trying to think in my mind, like, who's on my IG account that I follow? Well, let me start with Issa Rae. She taught me that it's okay to be like a nerd and Black. I think I listened to a podcast with her, and she did a YouTube about like nerdy Black girls and whatnot. And I remember growing up, like, I'm not even low key, I'm a high key nerd. Like, I like Lord of the Rings, and I felt like I couldn't like be myself, so I had to like put on this persona of who I think people wanted me to be. And I remember like being made fun of for having like big teeth that like stick out and being too dark skinned and whatnot. And I love that like she's unapologetically dark skinned and Black and a nerd. And I'm like, yes, like I'm like Issa Rae. I can be a Lord of the Rings fan publicly now and not be afraid of people making fun of me, because if they do, they're not my people. And then my other influencer would be Lupita and Nyong'o and Danae from like the Black Panther. Those girls, like, just being like dark skinned and Black. Now that I'm like, I love it. Like, I used to be made fun of for this, and now it's like it's cool. And I'm like, I've been dark skinned Black my whole life, and now it's trending. Like, and so they've helped me to embrace my dark skin.
Thank you for that. There are so many brands and businesses that are dominating. Talk about a brand or a business that's dominating that you admire and why.
See, that's a good question. Only thing is, I've been almost like not watching other brands and businesses because I know that it can put me into a negative headspace. So brands that hashtag pause, Fenty, Rihanna, like, that's it. She used her Super Bowl performance to plug her business, and I'm just like, genius. She's probably one of the only brands that I actually still follow on Instagram, because other ones I just get so upset. And majority of them are like white brands, so I unfollowed them. I'm like, oh, must be nice, like you have this many million followers and you're making bank. But like, I see Rihanna went in there and she went into an industry that's already out there, and she made it accessible for brown skinned women. And then she got the biggest stage in the world, and she plugged her business without even trying. And I'm like, dude, she's a genius. She has all her dancers wearing her Savage Fenty. She brought her little Fenty compact. And I'm like, dude. And I went on her website and it was shut down because it was just broken, because it went crazy. I'm like, oh, I need to have some babies dancing on a stage at Super Bowl in some Jameson and Bexley gear. I need to be like that. But no, I admire her brand. But again, she's probably one of the few that I still follow on social media.
Jennifer, if you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer it.
Probably would be, where do I see myself a year from now? And I'm going to answer that with, I see myself scaling my company to the point where I'm able to, number one, pay myself a salary, and two, to hire a virtual assistant. That way I don't have to do all of the work myself. And that way I can have more of a work-life balance and actually spend more time with my kids during the day, and a good 7 ish hours of sleep at night. I say ish because kids, when you have young babies, you gotta just go with the flow. Whatever they give you, you get. So I'll say on average 7 hours of sleep at night.
We've come to the part of our interview. It's called Rapid Round of Fun. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I want you to give me very quick answers. If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the Rapid Round of Fun?
I am.
Your ideal car?
It was a Nissan Murano.
What is your favorite comfort food?
Chocolate chip cookies. Chewy chocolate chip cookies.
The last movie you saw?
Black Panther 2.
You relax doing what?
Watching Law and Order SVU.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
The Backstreet Boys.
Your favorite dance song?
Lizzo. I forget the name of the song right now, but it's anything Lizzo.
What food you eat every week, no matter what?
Tacos.
Work out or hit the couch?
Hit the couch.
Jennifer Sanger, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Before we let you go, share with our audience the best way for them to connect with you and to do business with you, and feel free to leave all your social media handles.
Oh, yes. Thank you again for having me. You can follow me on Instagram at Jamison, Jamison, and Bexley, Bexley. That's also the name on my Instagram account. And then my shop is www.jamisonandbexley.com.
Thank you, Jennifer. That's a wrap.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.